Welcome in, friends. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Special guest today, kind of been around my life for a while now, but have never actually formally met him. My man, James Carey. How's it going, brother?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We good, man. We good. We're happy to
James.
We're happy to have you, dude. I know is not the ending you necessarily wanted for UConn for Iona losing to UConn in the first round, but still an incredible season. A lot of great memories I'm sure you were left with after another great year under my man, Rick Pitino. So take us through that NCAA tournament experience, though. How cool was that to be part of for the second time now in your career?
Yeah, it's unlike anything else. I mean, like when you're growing up, like that's like the dream, playing the NCAA tournament. So like it was really a dream come true to, just be a part of it. Obviously, we had a tough draw with UConn. They're in the Final Four now, but just like everything about it, just from little things like getting gear and like the police escorts everywhere, and just like, a lot of the stuff that comes around it, like just the media, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty surreal. I mean, obviously it's heavily covered. So, and being in the MAC, you don't really get that type of stuff all year. So it was cool to just be a part of all that. It's unlike anything else.
Safe to say it's another level, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Different level making it to the tourney. The dance is special, baby.
Yeah,
dance is special.
Yeah, I just want to ask about UConn real quick, just because they're in the Final Four this weekend. I imagine it has to make you guys feel a little bit better losing in the first round, but at least like now the team's in the Final Four, so you lost to arguably one of the four best teams in all of college basketball. What did you think of UConn and how they performed against you guys? You think that was as legit of a team as you guys have seen all year?
Yeah, no, by far our best team we played this year. I mean, they were number one in the country for a while. People forget,
yeah.
And like they were probably a little like underseeded. They could have been easily a 2 or a 3. I think they finished the AP poll in the top 10. So like when we were scouting, we really knew like we were gonna have to play almost a perfect game to beat them. I mean, they don't really have any holes in their lineup. They're deep. They got some of the best bigs in the country. Their bigs gave us fits, and they got shooters everywhere. They got good guards. So like, our way of attacking them was like we play a lot of pressure. We press a lot. So we were gonna try to come out and pressure them because they didn't see a lot of presses throughout the year. So we thought maybe we could throw them off with that. First half we hung with them. We were up 2 at half. And second half, they just came out and they made plays, and it was tough to slow them down. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of comforting knowing that they're in the Final Four, obviously, because they ended up beating us by a good amount, but then they go and beat Gonzaga by 30 in the Elite Eight, Arkansas by 30.
Exactly.
So, like, I think that shows us where we stand to a point. Like, we competed with them as well as anyone did in this tournament. But we knew that. We knew they were going to be a good team. We knew we were going to have to come in and play almost a perfect game. And obviously in the second half, we let it get away a little bit. But, I mean, they definitely could go win it. They're a great team. They're a great team.
I definitely remember that. I was like, but Iona was up because I went for you guys.
Yeah.
On the FanDuel.
We both did.
I picked Iona to beat UConn and upset.
What was it, 9.5?
On every fucking bracket, everywhere. I picked Iona to beat UConn. Right? The spread was ridiculous. And I said, oh, we up by 2? Nobody been that close since.
Right.
Everybody getting smacked everywhere that UConn is playing. So for me, that just lets me know what type of team you guys had. And if y'all would have played a perfect game, what would that score have been?
Yeah.
Y'all definitely didn't play a perfect one, and you still was in the game and was up by 2 by halftime.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about you guys and Rick Pitino in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
A big reason, though, that you guys were a very popular pick to upset UConn. I know there were a lot of people talking about picking you guys in their brackets. Jason and I both picked Iona to take down UConn. But a big reason for that is because of Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
What was like the message going into that game? Because you guys came out very confident, firing kind of on all cylinders in the first half, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, well, his thing is like he's not coming second to anyone, So like when he came to Iona, his whole thing was we're going to become the Gonzaga of the East. He's like, we're going to bring this thing to a national level, this and that. So like when we play teams like UConn, there's no other option but to win, and especially in a March Madness game. There's no other option. So his whole thing was like they're not better than us. Like we're gonna beat them. There was no like if this, if that. His mentality the whole time was we're gonna win this game. And I think one of the interesting things too was like after I forget it was the first or second media timeout when we were up, he stopped us in the huddle and he was like, "Look at the scoreboard. Like we're here. We're a better team." You know what I mean? And like that's just how he is. Like you put that confidence in us, and I think that's part of the reason why we came out firing like that. So yeah, no, that was definitely his message. Like we're gonna come in and win this game. That was his message.
I love that. Let me ask you a question. What's the best piece of advice Rick Pitino has given you? Because I look up to Rick Pitino. I've been around him because he's been around Steve Masiello, and I've been around Steve Masiello.
Yeah.
Coached my kids in college. So he's like, he's like the guru of this shit for me.
Yeah.
Fuck Rick Pitino heavy. All his quotes, everything he stands for, how hard he goes for his kids, how he cares about his kids.
Yeah.
Take the extra steps. He goes above and beyond basketball because the ball stops bouncing at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me the best piece of advice Rick Pitino is giving you.
So this wouldn't be like something specifically that he said, but like, so his motto is PhD, and that means passionate, hungry, and driven. And his whole thing is like you do that in every aspect of life, right? So like you gotta have certain grades to play for him. You gotta have a certain work ethic. You gotta treat people a certain way. It's everything that you do. You do it the best you can. And like that, it's one thing to say it, but when you play for him, you see he really means it. Like, and I think one quick example would be like we played at New Mexico this year, and we flew straight out to Hawaii. And when we got to Hawaii, it was a 7-hour flight. We're all jet lagged. It was maybe like 11 p.m. there. Boom, straight off the plane, we're in the practice gym practicing. And everyone's like hungry, tired. We're all like what that, and like that's just how he was. Like it was every single day, like 2.5-hour practice, player development in the morning, lift, hours of film. And it was just nonstop. And when you see someone like at his age doing that, like just never running out of steam, never, like it didn't matter if he was sleep deprived, if he was this, like, when you step between the lines, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like it's just basketball. Like and that's what you're focused on. And I think like that's really translated to me with like everything I do. It's like don't make excuses. Like he always says, like excuses are a sign of weakness. And like all that could just sound like cliche, but like he really does it. He really does it. You know what I mean? So like when you see him do it, and you're like, okay, this is why he's so successful. And so like when just being around that, like I think that's advice in its own. Like stop making excuses for everything. Just go dead done. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'd say that for sure.
I like that.
Yeah. One of the things that I've always felt about Rick Pitino is that he's kind of got that like Michael Jordan quality to him, where if you don't truly love the game of basketball, like if you're not a true basketball junkie, if you don't eat, sleep, breathe basketball, you might not get along with Rick Pitino because like he is that type. Have you felt like how cool was it to just be around like that type of passion for the game? I imagine it's contagious.
Yeah, if you don't eat, sleep, and breathe basketball, you're hitting the portal at the end of the year. And like you've seen it with a lot of like, for real. Like you gotta love it. You really do. You gotta love it. Cause we'll be sitting in the locker room like we this stuff's going on day. And you know how he is. He's yelling, he's screaming, and it's like it's tiring, like it's mentally like draining and like. But you guys sitting there, you're like, this is what I signed up for. And like some people that hits them hard when they get here, you know what I mean? They're not ready for all that. They're a good player and they can go do their thing somewhere else. And a lot of them do well other places. But like you really got to be a certain type of player and person to be around him. Definitely. You
say that, and guess what? 8 players from St. John's is transferring. Not that that's funny. That's because it's not. Because I know 4 of those kids that's leaving St. John's. Shout out to Pa, shout out to Dylan. Shout out to a bunch of those OSL kids that's at St. John's. But at the end of the day, like you said, they can do their thing somewhere else still.
Yeah.
Every coach and player don't fit.
Right. 100%.
That is why making your college decision is one of the most important decisions in your life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gotta go where they want you.
100%.
Yeah. James, I got a question for you.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got in that portal real quick. Once Ricky P showed up, they were saying, I'm out.
That's how it was when I came to Iona, though. He only kept like 2 or 3 guys from the team before. That's how it is. He cleaned the house. He bringing his own guys.
Hit the road.
What Deion said? He said, I'm bringing my luggage. It's loose.
That's a fact.
So
that's true story.
Obviously, it's very easy under a guy like him to really make the team feel like a family. That's kind of just how he's been everywhere he went. Guys who played for him all say that about him. It's a very, very family-oriented style of running things. How tough was that conversation when he told you guys he was leaving? Like, what was the mix of happiness for him, sadness because he's leaving? Like, what was that feeling like for you guys?
Yeah, it was tough. It was definitely tough. I feel like all of us kind of knew a little bit because
I was gonna say that
there was, it was floating around for weeks, and we talked about it obviously in the locker room and stuff. Like, so we were kind of prepared for it, but it was definitely tough. Like, especially for me and a few other guys who've been with him since he's got here for 3 years. It's different now. Like, he's not here anymore, and that's it. And like, I'm graduating, so like it wasn't as hard for me because like, I'm done. But like the other guys who have more eligibility now, they gotta figure out what they want to do, what their next step is. And I think it's a lot harder for those guys. But we always love him. He's always been there for us. Put us through like memories that last a lifetime. So I mean, I'll be rooting for St. John's. I'll be rooting for Iona too. I'm sure everyone feels kind of the same way. But it was definitely tough. But we understand at the same time. He knows what he wants, and it's tough at the mid-major level, especially with NIL and everything now, to compete where he wants to compete. Like he wants to get back to a Final Four, and honestly, like I think he could have done it at Iona. I think we had the right pieces, and I think we would have had everything returning to be a top 25 team next year. And plus, like if he brought in a few pieces, like I think we were right there. But I get it too. Like he's gonna go. He coached in the NBA. He coached at Louisville, Kentucky. He's coached in national championships. So like he's gonna go coach at the Garden again. In the Big East. And like he's 70 years old. He's only got so many years left to do this. So I think we all get that. And he, like you said, he's got like that Michael Jordan like competitive mindset. And so like he's like itching for that feeling again. You know what I mean? So I mean we get it.
Very mature, James. Not every athlete will handle it that way, just so you know that. Been around a lot of athletes, and situations occur in different schools, and each player don't take it that way. Because remember, coaches do promise kids things.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So, and I'm not saying Rick did or didn't. I'm just giving you a different side of it.
Well said. Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, to anyone listening who hasn't been watching Iona basketball, you may hear that Final Four comment you just had and think it's like totally insane. But look at this year's Final Four. You're telling me Iona couldn't have been FAU? You're telling me Iona couldn't have been San Diego State? Like, because I would have taken Iona's coach over all of theirs. So, all it takes is a couple good pieces.
St. Peter's is from the MAC, and you remember who went for St. Peter's last year, Hank.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Last one, and then we'll let you get out of here, James. What's next for you? Because Jason just said it. I've noticed it in this interview. You're very well spoken, very mature, wise beyond your years, and you got that Rick Pitino DNA in your blood now. What's next for you in basketball and in life?
Yeah, so I'm hanging it up. This is my last year. So I got a job in Rye, asset management company. So I'll be doing stocks, stuff like that. But I'm a basketball junkie, just like you guys. I'll be working out like crazy. Maybe I'll do some training stuff. I'll be playing in men's leagues, pick up all time. So I'll still be playing.
Definitely welcome around Cold World, man. Pull up.
I'll be up there. I got a little free time now. Come bust your ass real quick.
You sound like Henry. You must have got that from my good friend. Tell the good people where you play high school basketball at.
I played at Pelham, 10 minutes away, right here.
Who'd you play for over there?
Mark Cortine.
Shout out Shooter, man, on Friends of Friends. That's family. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And I have one question before I let you go. I told Hank I was going to ask you for the listeners out there. How hard was the transition from Division III to Division I basketball?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get to ask that a lot. So The people at D3, like, they can really hoop. You know what I mean? Like, they can really shoot the ball. They got skill set. I'd say the biggest difference is the pace of the game, the physicality, the athleticism, things like that. So, like, the biggest transition for me when I switched from D3 to D1 was getting used to the speed of the game. Like, you got freak athletes running all over the floor who are really long, you know, scrappy. And so, like, it wasn't as much of a adjustment with my skill set. It was more like being able to slow the game down and make the right reads and stuff like that. And that's just something you get used to over time when I'm playing against all these, like, guards who are really high major caliber guards. And you're just going up against them every day. You kind of get used to that speed, and you really learn from them too. You watch what they do coming off ball screens and the way they read the floor, and you pick up on a lot of those things. But that was definitely the biggest adjustment, was getting used to just like the pace and the physicality and the athleticism, especially at my size. I'm a little undersized, so that was a big adjustment. But
so that's game situational. But what about practice? As far as practice, what's the biggest?
I mean, it's hard to compare Rick Pitino to like anyone else, because he's known for like just all day, every day. But I always like, I mean, you know me, like I always kind of worked like that. Like I was always up at 5 a.m. doing that kind of stuff. So like for me, like the hours and like how demanding it wasn't necessarily that much of an adjustment. I was kind of ready for that and knew that coming in. And that's part of the reason why I picked it. Like I was like, I love this, you know what I mean? But I guess, like, in terms of Rick Pitino's practices, like, yeah, they're hard. Like, you're going live for, like, 2.5, 3 hours straight. And it's just, like, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, he doesn't do drills. He doesn't, like, it's just live the whole time. And we do all of our sets, our scouts through going live. And it's full court. So we're pressing the whole time. So, like, that's tiring. But that's why his teams are in such good shape. And that's why they can press like that. And it's, like, the day before games, too. And like walkthroughs, like he doesn't do like slow practices the day before.
Everything like, game situation.
Everything's game, yeah. Full 3 hours.
That's why he the GOAT.
The day of games too, like you have a 1 hour shoot around before. Every team does it. We don't get up shots, we practice full court. Like and so that's one of the funniest stories. Like when I first got here, I'll never forget this. Our first game was we were playing at Seton Hall, my first game ever for him. And it says shoot around on the schedule. So we all pull up in like our, you know, like our t-shirts or like whatever, like getting ready, like get on the gun, just some light stuff. And he looks at us, he goes, "Where the fuck are your practice uniforms?" We all looking at each other like, "Practice?" We're like, "What?" So we all get changed. He's like, "All right," like stretch. We're stretching, like, "What are we stretching for?" All right, boom, get in the white, the press. And we're going full live.
Full throttle. He's not playing.
And everyone's looking at each other like,
that's
serious
crazy.
right now?
Rick,
that feels very Pitino,
man.
Yeah,
I love
it's exhausting, man. It's exhausting, but it's rewarding.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to you and kudos to you for making that jump and being able to adjust and stay and get in games and do your thing. We definitely proud of you. We saw your maturation over the last few years, and we saw everything that you definitely worked hard for. Nothing was given to you. You earned all of that. Kudos to you.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you.
You the man, James. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Be a friend of a friend. Go hit that button.